What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. I can tell already how the pacing of this video is going to go throughout the night. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it just starts off really shitty. It just starts off really negative, and then it just progressively gets better. But I just read this tweet, and it was a quote from Cultaholic, taken from Zack Sabre Jr. I didn't watch the media scrum because it was already super fucking late and you had nearly fucking 11 matches on. No, they had 10 matches on the card, right? Not nearly. They did have 10 matches on the card. And I had to work the next day and I was too fucking tired. So I went straight to goddamn bed. But apparently Zack Sabre Jr., which I, again, completely missed this, he was one of the people who sat at the table who took questions right next to Tony Khan. And he had a very peculiar quote that I want to read for you guys really quick that kind of just irritates the ever-loving shit out of me in professional wrestling today. And it really, I can't stress this enough how fucking stupid this quote is. And it's just such a detriment, and it's such a hypocritical stance to take whenever I hear people talk about tribalism within professional wrestling. He says in that quote, it's just a small quote though, AEW has changed the entire industry because to be able to have large-scale American company, they actually typed this incorrectly, but I'll try my best to read this. Let me just start back over again. AEW has changed the entire industry because to be able to have large-scale American company that completely respects pro wrestling did not exist before. And, you know, the same sentiments came from CM Punk also, you know, when he talked about the fact that, you know, when he had his return in AEW initially back in 2021, and he said that he was absent from professional wrestling for about 17 years at that point. And, you know, it's such a stupid fucking comment. It's such a stupid, to devalue the WWE for what they bring to the table has, it's one of the most mind-numbingly, mind-bogglingly stupid fucking hipster takes that you could possibly have as a professional wrestling fan. It's nothing more than a detriment to the business when you talk like this. It creates the tribalism atmosphere that you guys claim all the fucking time other people have when talking about AEW not doing good, or people misconstrue the facts, or people don't take into context this, that, and the third because of their bias in regards to AEW. But then you say stupid shit like this. I guarantee you there is not one person who can make me believe anything other. I can maybe buy to a certain degree people who are in regions that are healthy within professional wrestling, that have their own professional wrestling companies within that specific region. So for an example, people in Mexico, right? You have so much rich history in professional wrestling, whether it's CMLL, whether it's AAA, I get that. Whether it's Japan, obviously New Japan Pro Wrestling, you know, you got War, you got Stardom, there are All Japan Pro Wrestling, they're healthy. I can understand if you're Japanese, like ethnically Japanese, and you're from Japan. I can understand if you're Mexican and you're from Mexico. You know, even to a lesser degree, I can understand people from like Canada or Australia or from Puerto Rico. I can even understand small pockets of that. But if you're in America, there's nothing that you can tell me. And honestly, I'm going to go out and say it also, if you're from the United Kingdom, there's nothing that you can tell me to make me believe that you didn't get into professional wrestling through WWE. You can't tell me that. Again, I can understand small pockets. I can understand Japan. I can understand Mexico. No, if you're from the United Kingdom, and especially if you're from America, you got into professional wrestling through WWE 99.9% of the fucking time when you were a child. Like, and to pretend this hipster mindset of, well, now that I'm a professional wrestler and I can actually do the flips and the dives, and you know, WWE, they restrain you from doing the flips and the dive. No, they don't restrain you. They protect you. They restrain you from doing it every other given moment for no fucking reason. They want you to save it for specific times and specific, you know, locations and specific pay-per-views and shows and arenas, so you can get the most out of it. I don't understand why these people actually believe the aesthetic of going out there and you can be able to just do whatever fuck you want to do as far as a move is concerned. It's supposed to make you some type of big time person. It doesn't make you anything more than a bumbling dipshit who doesn't realize that you want to be a professional wrestler and you want to be in this game for so long, but you so desperately want to get a pop from the audience because of your athleticism, not through your character, not through what you can actually do as far as invoking emotion without having to do the fucking moves, because that's just nothing more than a cheap pop, right? Isn't that the emphasis of a cheap pop? The emphasis of a cheap pop is to go out there and you pretend to be able to do, because it's all fucking fake. It's all predetermined. Every tool that you use in your arsenal is supposed to get over your character with the fan in the end of the day, right? So why belittle another wrestling company because they don't want you to do your minuscule moves to get a pop, as if it hasn't been a cliche in professional wrestling for over a fucking decade? It's such a mark mentality, and it's such a detriment mentality, and again, it's such a hypocritical mentality. Because like I said, for whatever you feel about WWE, the same people who claim tribalism is such a horrible thing in professional wrestling, they have no bones about going out of their way and promoting the tribalism. Because who the hell you think is disincentivizing as far as a retort or a rebuttal? And what do you think is going to happen when that retort or rebuttal actually happens? And AEW fans respond, and then it goes back and forth, back and forth. And it goes back and forth and back and forth for so long that you forgot why you're even arguing to begin with, from the initial argument in itself, stemming from what these dipshit wrestlers have done already within the AEW head. It's just mind-numbing. It's just mind-numbing. I fucking detest this kind of mentality. I detest this fucking talking point. I detest how they fucking look at professional wrestling nowadays. It's nothing more than a video game. It's nothing more than a video game. Like I said, I see already how this is going to start off. So let's cross our fingers, go into the show, and hopefully it ends up being good. I can't stress enough how good, bro, Willow Nightingale is so fucking good, bro. She's so fucking good. It's to the point sometimes where I see her talk on a promo or when she's cutting a promo, and like, she is one of, if not, I can't think of another babyface who can actually give a rah-rah speech in such a manner and still get over. Because, you know, we live in 2024, and bad happens to be good and good happens to be bad because everybody wants to be edgy. I know, look at my channel. I'm not one to admit myself from not being a part of that quote unquote group, right? But you know, it's really refreshing. You know, it's really refreshing to see a baby face. And I talked about this earlier with the MJF stuff, as far as notating the fact that a heel is only as good as a baby face is, right? And I look at someone like a Willow Nightingale, and God, it's just so rare, and it's crazy because that was all the rage. It's so crazy to look at someone like a Willow Nightingale and think to yourself, like, the Attitude Era pretty much was an answer. You know, that was a rebellion against the Willow Nightingales of the world. You know what I mean? You know, the Rocky Mayavias, you know, all that stuff for the aesthetic that came off from the 80s. Willow Nightingale encapsulate all of that, of what the Attitude Era rebelled against. And essentially, we've been, you know, suffering the consequences from, unfortunately, not the Attitude Era in itself, but everybody wanting to be a cool heel and all this other shit, and everybody getting cheered who happens to be a bad guy and booed if you're too corny as a good guy. It's just crazy to me how that was all the rage 30 years ago, and you know, we don't see any of that nowadays, and now it's the absolute rarity. And it's, I don't know, it's just really cool to see someone like a Willow Nightingale be able to go out there and just like commit to that character and get it over in a way that I haven't seen, arguably, honestly, to be fair, because I've only been watching wrestling for nearly 30 years. By the time 1996 started, I was already, you know, professional wrestling was already going into that change. I can't think of the last time I seen a babyface actually get over in that manner, so it's actually really refreshing. But going to the Bryan Danielson match against Neville, or Pac, I guess, this was fine. This was just a straight up wrestling match, no theatrics, no bullshit, no flippity flip things. I mean, yeah, you got a couple of springboards here and there, but for the most part, it was about as direct, as standard, you know, impactful, really. You know, you got Bryan Danielson, he's selling the neck injury, you know, he's shaking his hands and his fingers, and he's constantly having to feel his neck to see if he's okay. You got someone like a Neville who's going after the neck injury for the majority of the match. Nice. It was a beautiful superplex by Pac. I mean, that's how you know you got two professionals, right? You got Pac with that beautiful, that was such a beautiful textbook fucking, that was my favorite move of the night so far, bro. I love that superplex from Pac. And you know, the finish, one can probably argue, and I will definitely not hold that against you as far as like being a little bit too indie-rific, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, if the match is good enough, I'm willing to look past it, even though I don't necessarily like those kind of finishes, you know, in that kind of manner. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect Pac and everything, but you know, like the constant flipping around with the cradles and the crucifix and the roll-ups, and then eventually one guy, after so many roll-ups, gets you in a roll-up. It's kind of corny, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, like I said, when the match is as good as it was with Pac and Neville, and mind you, I'm not gonna say this is top 10 best matches of the year, not even close. I might not even say top 20. And you know, if someone were to argue that this was kind of disappointing to them, I can understand where you're coming from. If you expect something else a little bit more I don't know, energetic, because this match did feel a bit more slow paced than I expected. expect it to be, which for me, I don't mind, you know what I mean? But it wasn't as technical. Like it was technical in the beginning, 1 or 2 minutes with the cruiserweight diversion moves, and you got some Ricky Steamboat-esque type of arm drags from both guys, which I dug that shit. It brings me back to this match kind of reminded me of a little tiny bit. And I don't know if you want to take that as a good thing or a bad thing. Not to that degree necessarily, but it did sort of kind of remind me of Guerrero and Malenko back in '95 in ECW. That's the match structure kind of reminded me that a little tiny bit. But, obviously a little bit more fast paced because Guerrero and Malenko was just a straight up technical fucking masterpiece. But this was still, pretty good. I liked it, at least for my taste of professional wrestling. I liked it, even though I can understand if, you guys didn't like it all too much. And, like I said, as long as the match has purpose, I don't mind the wrestling all too much, especially when it's coming from two professionals like Danielson and Pac. I don't necessarily hate it all too much, as long as there's a purpose. And the tournament happens to be a purpose, even though we have tournaments all the fucking time. At least this is an annual tournament. You get where I'm going with this. But with that being said, I see Jay Briscoe in the ring, so let's see. Mark Briscoe, excuse me. And let's keep going with the show. Solid match from both guys. I am actually kind of speculating in my own mind who is going to be the wild card for Jeff Jarrett. I'm really trying to speculate. Am I to assume it's going to be somebody else who's close to Owen Hart? Because how many people within AEW are actually close to Owen Hart? If not close, at the very least, maybe past opponents. I was thinking, there's only so many people who are in AEW. It would be Jeff Jarrett, right? Maybe Christian. You can argue Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett versus Edge and Christian back in '99. Edge would have been another person, obviously. I think Edge, I don't know if he was Owen's last opponent. I think he was Owen's last opponent. I could be wrong about that, but obviously Edge is injured at the moment, so it's not going to be him. Oh, I have one more person in mind, but I doubt that to be the case because I think he's full on retired, like that said. I was thinking Mark Henry probably, but nah, he's probably full on retired. I can't think of anybody else who would have been closely associated to Owen Hart where it would have made sense. I mean, you can maybe make an argument for Brian Pillman Jr. because of his father, but obviously he's in NXT. I am curious as to who would be going up against Jeff Jarrett. I guess we just have to wait and see. But this Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander match, this was fucking terrible. This was horrible, in my opinion. I was expecting so much more from this, especially because it's a grudge match. There was so many things wrong with this match. One, Chris Statlander kept botching. Not botching that, it was so terrible that it was fucking up the match, but botching in the sense where it was, kind of killing some of the momentum for some of the moves. The way she took the clothesline spot from Willow Nightingale did not look good at all. She hesitated on one of the turnbuckle spots where she was going to springboard off of, so she wasn't really on point tonight. Also, you're presenting Chris Statlander as his new character. She's coming out with the brand new entrances and everything like that. I'm not saying that she has to beat Willow Nightingale, but maybe not put her in a position like this. But then again, it's one of those situations where I guess it was the quarterfinals, but I don't know, maybe there could have been some way to work that out without making Chris Statlander look like a bitch when she's now trying to establish a new character, especially when she was one of your more dominating TBS champions in the past. And then, more importantly, at least in my opinion, the finish of the match. So we got another roll-up finish. That's not good. Do not do back-to-back roll-up finishes when you just got finished seeing a roll-up finish out of the last match. I think that's terrible booking. I think that's not paying attention to what the fuck you're doing. I think, honestly, when you do shit like that, if it's not... either A, it's ignorance, or B, it's laziness. However you want to take it, that's what happened in this match as far as I'm concerned in regards to the finish. But yeah, everything about this match was just bad. Absolutely terrible. The only thing that could redeem this is I'm going to assume Mariah May is going to beat Hikaru Shida just because it is Toni Storm after all. And you want to play up the whole story with, Mariah May and everything like that and Toni Storm. So maybe there's a possibility where you could do Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale, and then Chris Statlander could interfere, and then maybe she can get her revenge, and then you can run it back into a hardcore stipulation match. Obviously, we're too far gone or far along as far as doing this match in Wembley Stadium, which is in August. August, not July. So, actually, no, I think he was referencing Blood and Guts. Who cares? My point being is, though, you know, maybe you can run it back and you can do a hardcore stipulated match with Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Other than that, though, this was a complete and utter fucking disappointment in my opinion. But with that being said, I see Britt Baker coming out right now, so very curious as to what's going to happen here. Very curious as to what engagement we're going to get between her and I presume Mercedes Mone, who's going to come out during it. If she doesn't, that'd be another disappointment. But, you know, hold your breath. We'll see where this is going to go. Are we going to get ourselves a bit of a CM Punk and Heyman Adam Page situation? I don't know. Only one way to find out, and that's to pay attention to the promo. So with that being said, let's go. You know what? Gotta clap it up. Maybe I'm doing it a little bit too early. But I kind of got a feeling how the main event's going to go tonight. I'm going to give them props. This is by far the best episode of Dynamite I've seen all year so far. This is a great episode of Dynamite. I can't even front. This is a great episode of Dynamite. They're fucking killing it right now. If they did this shit every fucking week, yeah, professional wrestling would be in so much better shape than what it is right now. It's a healthy balance between matches, promoting stories, getting everybody worked up, getting everybody ready to build up into All In. This is exactly, how hard is this? Now, granted, I feel like I'm jinxing myself right now because I feel like they're going to completely usurp themselves, maybe even later on tonight, but for sure by the time next week happens, right? But I will give credit where credit is due. So far, this has been an excellent show. I can't even front. And this promo between Britt Baker and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Mone, this was good. This was solid. I like this. And also, before I even talk about that, because right now they're about to have Hook, Samoa Joe, and Shibata, and I guess some six-man tag team action. Before I even talk about, you know, the Mercedes and Britt Baker, because I'm going to probably have to ignore that match to kind of give my undivided attention to all the stuff that I want to talk about right now. Because these things happen back to back to back. These were three pretty important angles for tonight. So you had Chris Jericho, who just came out right now, and this kind of reminds me, and God, I never thought, it's actually super duper ironic too, because again, I'm gonna bring up this because it sucks that you guys aren't really that old enough to probably even know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I don't know, maybe you guys go back on the WWE Network, maybe you can watch it for yourselves. But this is super duper duper ironic that Jericho came out and he relieved Taz of his duties and calling him biased and all this other kind of shit. So back in the year 2000, I want to say around between maybe August to September-ish, around that time, right? This is like right in the middle of Benoit and Jericho feuding before he started to feud with X-Pac for a little bit. Jerry Lawler was, you know, he was ensconced in the feud with Taz around that time, right? This is when Taz was bullying JR and Jerry the King Lawler. And there was a segment where you had Taz, who essentially was usurping Jerry Lawler for his duties, and Jericho was taken up for Jerry Lawler to fight against Taz. He's done that a couple of weeks back in the year 2000 around that August time frame. I just thought that was really ironic that now you have Jericho relieving Taz of his duties when at the time Taz beat the shit out of Jerry Lawler, and then he took his role as a color commentator. That's where you guys start at, by the way, if you guys are ever curious. And it was Jericho who was sticking up for Jerry Lawler against Taz at the time. I don't know. I always thought that was really cool. But yeah, Jerry Lawler's on, or Chris Jericho's on commentary right now. I just thought that was a nice little, you know, I doubt anyone's gonna fucking catch that. But going back a little tiny bit, you did have Will Ospreay. They were recapping all the stuff that happened on Sunday with Swerve Strickland, him beating Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay looked like he was fucking depressed. He looked like that dude looked like he had to be on watch. You had Kyle Fletcher in the background, and he was essentially he was depressed. He was depressed. You know, he was trying to get over the fact that he lost his match against Swerve Strickland, and then you had Don Callis come up, and you know, he didn't really say much when he first walked up. You know, you just had Will Ospreay just kind of explaining himself, saying like, yo, I fucked up, you know, I knocked out the referee. I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger on the Tiger Driver, and you know, when you gave me the screwdriver, I just didn't have it in me to use it. You know, I fucked up and I lost because of it. But with that being said, with how everything is going on, I'm grateful for what you've done for me. You gave me Kenny Omega last year. You gave me Jericho last year. I think I won out of the Don Callis family. And Don Callis, you know, we'll see what happens later on tonight. But Don Callis essentially was like, you know what? Okay. All right, base. Okay, cool, bet. I don't usually give people outs on their contracts, but you want to get out on your contract, okay, cool. You can get the out on your contract. Hopefully later on we can do business again some other time. And then he gave him a hug, but you could see the look on his face, and it was smiling, and it just kind of turned into disgust. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna play into the finish. Okay, that's cool. That's gonna play into the finish. That's awesome. I want to see how that match is gonna turn out. See, this is what you do to get people to want to get involved with the main event. I've been talking about this shit for months now, and they fucking did it. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. You need to do that to get people to want to be invested into the main event. So now all the talks and all the build-ups of what you did last week with Daniel Garcia and Will Ospreay, just to bring it back forward, and you have Daniel Garcia cutting promos backstage about wanting to get a shot at the international championship, and now you have MJF walking up to Daniel Garcia, shaking his hand, and then you have the guy who's with Daniel Garcia telling MJF, I thought wrong of you. I always thought of you as a scumbag, but what you did for Danny, that's a good thing. And then you do this right here with Will Ospreay. This is exactly how you build up a main event. It'd be nice if it was for the world champion, but I digress. I'll take what I can fucking get, right? And then going back a little bit further, the only bad thing on this show, honestly, was this segment with the Elite, which is just a dying. It is a dying fucking angle. They needed to put the kibosh on this quicker than they did the Undisputed Kingdom. And you had them essentially. Well, first you had Mark Briscoe. He was talking about how he was going to be the first member on Team AEW. I wish they would have hashed that out a little tiny bit more, so we can have a reason as to why Mark Briscoe just unconspicuously joined Team AEW. I mean, you're the ROH champion. I mean, just that point alone should kind of like defeat the point of you being on Team AEW. Regardless, Devontae, they're the same company, yeah, but they're sister and brother companies, right? Even if Tony Khan owns them both, they're sister and brother companies. You should give more of a reason as to why you want to join the team. You just went on the stupid ass ramble because that's your stupid ass gimmick at the moment. So I thought that was trash. And then you had the Elite come. Well, first you had Jack Perry come out, and he hit Mark Briscoe in the back of the head with his newly won TNT championship. And while he's beating up Mark Briscoe, out comes Kyle O'Reilly. He helps out Mark Briscoe, but then Kazuchika comes out and he hits him with the Rainmaker. And then you have all the members standing there and they're holding up their championship belts. This is the only garbage angle I've seen for tonight. I mean, this, and maybe you can say the Willow Chris Statlander. Those are the only two garbage things that happened so far tonight. But it doesn't come anywhere near close to the good that happened on this show. So now we get to what I really want to talk about, and that's Britt Baker and Mercedes Mone. So Britt comes out to a nice ovation. They start giving her DMD chants and everything. And it's kind of similar to, her, actually, even the diagnosis as far as what happened with her, very similar to what happened with Serena Deeb when she cut her promo a couple of weeks ago. And, Serena Deeb had to explain, like, oh, I was going through stuff. I think she said she had a stroke also, if I'm not mistaken, right? Someone can, or I think she had a seizure. I apologize. She had a seizure, if I'm not mistaken. Well, with Britt Baker, yeah, she talked about the fact that she had, herniated disc. I think she said she had a dislocated hip. But her main reason as to why she was out for so long, and I can't remember the diagnosis as far as the actual name in itself, but she pretty much just kind of TLDR'd it up to having, a mini stroke. Apparently, she was opening up a water bottle and her, her head started to get really dizzy and her right arm started to lock up on her. And, that's fucking horrific if you ask me. That is fucking horrific. That sounds horrible. And, she ended up saying, that she had a mini stroke, essentially. I mean, again, there was a longer appropriate name for the diagnosis, but she just, said that she had a mini stroke, essentially. That's why she was out for so long. And I will say this too, just one little notation, and I'm not gonna play the entire AEW fandom for this, because you have retards also in WWE. It just doesn't matter. You're just gonna have that one fucking loser, bro. And there was a couple in the audience who kept yelling stupid shit throughout the fucking, bro. It was one dude who was saying, I think he said, "Shut the fuck up." I'm listening to this. I'm like, bro, you're such a class fucking act, bro. What a class fucking act your retarded ass says. And if someone else said something else, I was horribly disrespectful. You got this girl pouring her heart out, talking about how she just legitimately could have died because she just had a stroke. And you got these motherfuckers saying the most horrific, and again, it's not the entire audience. You did have some people saying like, you know, we love you, Britt, and all this other kind of stuff. And honestly, the guy who actually said shut the fuck up in the crowd, you can hear the rumblings in the crowd as if they were turning their backs and like chastising them, which is a good thing. Fuck that guy, and fuck the other guy who said the disparaging thing also. I didn't hear what he quite said, but it was just so fucking disgusting. That was really, really fucking disgusting. Nevertheless, Britt Baker didn't let it get to her. She continued with her promo. She talked about how she wanted to, she talked about how she established AEW, how she was the first person to sign with AEW, how just because, you know, she happens to be right here in this position and she was gone for so long doesn't mean that she can't look to the future. She was talking about the past, the present, and the future, and notating each one. And essentially, she just called out Mercedes. You know, she notated the fact that Mercedes, you know, like she gets piped in chance of CEO, which I was like, oh, okay, this is how we doing, all right, okay, let's go. That's how we get it. Let's get it. Let's go. And while she's talking, out of nowhere, a van pulls up in the Titantron, right? And it's Mercedes Mone. She gets out of a van or SUV. She has her belts on her, the strong open weight championship belt and the TBS championship belt. You have the elite guys who are, you know, welcoming her to the building, which would be pretty cool if, you know, they develop that story a little bit more, because that definitely fits her really, really well. I mean, then again, this stable fucking sucks, so I mean, kind of go with the flow on this. But they, you know, introduced her. They told that her championship celebration is in the ring, and while she's coming out to the ring, while Britt Baker's in the middle of the ring, they're like taking balloons and gifts and, you know, her portrait, and they're just setting up the ring in the middle of Britt Baker's promo, which I thought was great heel heat. So it's all, by the way, it's already established now. Mercedes Moné is absolutely a fucking heel now. She is a straight up, she is a heel now, straight up. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no tweener. She is a heel. And obviously, Britt's is a face now, right? I think she left. I think she was a face. I think she was kind of bridging between face and heel. But nevertheless, though, she comes out to the ring, right? Boos, just straight up boos. And it's crazy. You don't hear anybody chanting CEO. You just hear the music going CEO. So it sounds like Britt Baker called her out right? Well, she gets in the ring and she goes back and forth with Britt Baker, essentially telling her, you know, what she said? She said something along the lines of, you know, like, if you want to get a title shot, you have to get in the back of the line, bitch. And this is before, because Britt Baker called her a bitch. And then Sasha was like, bitch. They went back and forth like that for a little bit before, you know, Britt Baker said something, and then like Sasha Banks put her hand in Britt Baker's face and shoved her backwards, and she was like, you know, if you want to get a title shot, you know where to, you know, just, you know, because Britt Baker challenged her to All In, essentially, right? So we know that's the match that's going to get settled, and, you know, I'm pumped up for it. I really want to see it. It's going to be awesome. As far as if they're going to build it up like this, continue building it up like this, and keep the, you know, keep the foot to the fucking pedal is essentially what I'm saying, all right? Like I said, good shit. I don't mind it. It was all good for the most part. The only bad thing about this, and I'm going to reiterate this every time I'm going to reiterate this. By the way, I see right now the Learning Tree, they're beating up Hook and Samoa Joe and Shibata, so I don't really have to talk about this match. And that's all you needed to get. They beat up the fucking Brian Cage and his two Samoan jobbers. Who gives a fuck? But my only problem, if I had to notate one thing about this, and I said this during the pay-per-view, it's just wild to me how you have a tournament to go after Toni Storm's championship belt, but this right here feels like it's so much more of a bigger deal. Like I said, no matter what happens with the Toni Storm stuff, I guess you have to kind of go with Mariah May now, right? You go with Willow Nightingale. I would love to see Willow Nightingale go after the championship belt, but the story doesn't really seem like it's there. Honestly, even with Mariah May, it doesn't really feel like Mariah May and Toni Storm is going to be a bigger deal than what happens with Sasha Banks and, you know, Britt Baker. You're going to have to do a lot to build that story up in order to put it on par with this. And the fact that I even have to say that you're putting it on par with the TBS championship belt is just wild to me, bro. It's fucking wild. Toni Storm and Mariah May should be fighting over the TBS championship, and Britt Baker and Mercedes should be fighting over the world championship. It's just fucking wild to me that that's the only bad thing about this entire segment to me. It has nothing to do with the girls. It has everything to do with the backwards ass booking. You know what I mean? But like I said, nevertheless though, that's not really a nitpick. That's a huge fucking problem. But I'm willing to look at it and just kind of put it to the side for a second because, like I said, it was a good segment. And so far, so good for at least the important things to notate on the show. I like the show so far. Can't really have any complaints. There were some bad There's a lot more good than there is bad, and you know, we still got 30 more minutes to go with the show. Like I said, so far, best episode of Dynamite all year, and it's not even fucking close. So I take that back. Did I say this is my favorite Dynamite of the year? This might be top 3 favorite Dynamites of all time. Holy shit, this is a great fucking episode tonight. This is good. This is really, really good shit. So we just got the return of Hangman Adam Page. So first, let me revert back a little tiny bit because there's more to talk about with Hangman Adam Page, but I kind of want to combine both of these segments after watching this segment right here. So we had, I didn't talk about it and I said I was going to skip it, but I figure I should probably talk about it after they lost the match. After the loss with Samoa Joe and Shibata and Hook, well, they won their match against, Brian Cage and his 2 jobber guys. They ended up they beat the crap out of Joe and Shibata and Hook, wailed on him with a steel chair, Hook that is. Then Wild Bill Hiccup ended up hitting a choke slam on him through a table and just took him completely out. Well, just to kind of skip over this match real quick with Hangman Adam Page, let me just kind of talk about this. They went backstage after the match with Hangman and Jeff Jarrett, and when they go back, off rip, because Hook is being checked on by the doctors, he starts to get attacked by the bounty hunter, right? And while he's getting beat up by the bounty, he's trying to fight back. You have I don't know if it was Jericho or if it was, I think it was Jericho. He threw a fireball in Hook's face, and now he's pretty much singed his face, and he kicked Taz out of the arena thanks to the Young Bucks, so no one's there to really check on him. It's from an ally standpoint. Samoa Joe got taken out, Shibata got taken out, Taz got kicked out of the arena, and Hook is there holding his face and suffering while you got the guys from the Learning Tree talking shit to him. That was solid. That's storytelling. That's exactly what I've been asking for. And speaking of storytelling, you got Hangman Adam Page. He's back. He was the surprise guy to go up against Jeff Jarrett, and he has new theme song. He has, from what it looks like, a very grittier attitude. He essentially kind of beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett didn't really get that much momentum in for the most part. The most Jeff Jarrett did was a sharpshooter, which I thought was actually a damn good looking sharpshooter, all things considered. You would think that should have been his finisher, other than the figure 4 leg lock. I mean, I know he does a stroke also, which he did that to Hangman Adam Page in the ring apron also. But for the most part, 90% of this match was dominated by Hangman Adam Page. I like how aggressive Hangman Adam Page was, but he could have been even more aggressive if you ask me. He ended up hitting Jeff Jarrett with the buckshot lariat, and then he hit him with a second deadeye. So he hit him with the buckshot lariat rather than go for a pinfall. He got on top of him and he started just beating the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. Then picked him back up and then hit him with another deadeye. That was the second one. The first one he didn't even attempt to pin him off of. Hangman. Oh, actually, hang on for a second. Okay, that was interesting. Okay, so there actually is a way that they can flip this, if you ask me. So this is the way I look at it. So Hangman Adam Page right now, he's playing the tweener role. So I guess he's not a heel, he's not a face, he's playing the tweener role. I get it. I understand now. Here's my idea though, and this is just me throwing it out there. I see MJF coming out, so I'll make this really quick. What if, because they were asking him and Adam Page, would he join them in the steel cage match coming up in July 27th, something like that, Blood and Guts? What if, and this is just my thought, Daniel Garcia's coming out. Okay, so they're getting ready for the main event. Really quick while the entrance is going on. What if, because Heyman Adam Page is like, I'm not gonna, take part in your match. He jacked up Matt Jackson and he shoved Nick Jackson from his face. So that's the aggression. I mean, he beat the fuck out of Jeff Jarrett, which I think he could have did a little bit more. But, he recovered after what he did right here. It seems like, again, he's playing a tweener role. He's trying to do the whole anti-hero thing. I get it. That's cool. I'm fine with that. My thing is, though, he denied being in Blood and Guts. Now, we do have Team AEW, right? And I've been saying for the longest, get the world champion to participate in this. What if Swerve Strickland, after all, does join Team AEW? Because he has been having conflicts, with Matt and Nick for the past couple of weeks. What if he does join, but, because I know right now, Heyman Adam Page, he doesn't want to join. They still need a fifth guy. He'll join after Swerve Strickland joined the match. You get what I'm trying to say? I think that's what the plan is. They're not going to let him join yet until Swerve Strickland joins Team AEW. And then he'll end up being the fifth guy after all. We'll see how it's going to play out, but I like it. I like the story so far. I like the aggression from Heyman Adam Page. I like the new character direction as far as where he's going right now. All this, although I would say, is it just me? See, I don't care for the guy at all. but I've seen him around a couple times, and some of my favorite YouTubers, like Turkey Tom, for an example, he has covered him quite a few times, and I think I see Moist Critical and some Ordinary Gamer, Mudahar. I think I've seen him cover him a couple of times too. Is it just me, or does Heyman Adam Page look like that? He looks like that, what's his name, iDubbbz? Is that his name? For some of you young people out there, he looks like that iDubbbz guy with that hair and then the facial stuff. But yeah, nevertheless though, just a little sidetrack. Yeah, again, good shit. I mean, I would like to see Swerve Strickland tonight. He is your world champion. But as far as a show is considered, yeah, good shit so far. If we could somehow get Swerve Strickland before the end of the night, I think that'd be fucking excellent. But outside of that though, yeah, this is one of the best. This is the best Dynamite of the year. But this is probably one of my favorite Dynamites of all time. And if they do what I think they're gonna do in the end of the show with Will Ospreay, shit, might be my favorite Dynamite of all time. We'll just see how this is gonna go. But this is a kick-ass fucking show. This is a kick-ass fucking show. All right, so for even the hardest WWE mark, and mind you, I still think AEW has a long way to go, and I still consider the WWE product better. One night ain't gonna change that. But God motherfucking damn it, if this isn't the step in the right direction, I don't know what is. They need to do more of this shit. This is by fucking far the best episode of Dynamite I think I've ever seen. And it's not even fucking close. This was great. This was great. This main event was great. This was fucking fantastic. I can't even front. This was fucking fantastic. So, yo, MJF, do you watch my videos? I literally just made a video like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, saying you should do this. AEW manager, guys. Hi, my name is Devontae. I see you watch my videos. No, real talk though. You had Daniel Garcia and Will Ospreay. They went out there and they had a good match. But that wasn't the whole key to this. See, this is what I talk about all the fucking time. This is the points that I hit on all the fucking time, bro. If the match has meaning going into it and you figure there's going to be something happening afterwards, it makes the match that much more entertaining. Because you're not only specifically focusing on the match, but you're focusing on the match to see, okay, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now? And it forces you to pay attention to the match. Will Ospreay and Daniel Garcia had a fantastic match. One spot in particular that I thought was really fucking cool. I don't know what the fuck you would call this move. Will Ospreay did something that I've never seen before. He did like a Spanish fly, but like he did a Spanish fly and it ended up like a crucifix. I can't even fucking explain what the hell he did right there. Nevertheless though, I just had to notate that was fucking crazy. Regardless though, you had MJF, right? So we get to the finish of the match. MJF, he has his Battle Royal ring, right? His diamond ring, whatever. And he tries to give it to Daniel Garcia to use on Will Ospreay. Daniel Garcia, he has the opportunity to use it. Will Ospreay's right there. He's there for the fucking taking. And he gives the ring back to MJF. And as soon as he turns around, Will Ospreay hits him with a hidden blade. Gets the win off of it, right? And then afterwards, you have Will Ospreay goes to the corner. Daniel Garcia, he's clearly dejected. I mean, this dude made a promise to his mom that he was going to win this match, right? He's in the corner. He's sitting there. He's obviously depressed. He's sad. Will Ospreay's in the corner. He's trying to cheer him up, give him some motivation, tell him, hey, you know, it's just one experience. You'll have more opportunities. You have the guys and the commentators. They're building this up. They're like, hey, he's only 25 years old. He has more opportunities. MJF is outside the ring. He's beside himself. He's like, he can't believe he let this happen. And you know what? Something I should have picked up on? I should have picked up on the fact that MJF was wearing a white wife beater. I should have picked up on that. I knew something was good. I should have picked up on the fact that he had a white wife beater on. But afterwards, MJF comes in the ring and he does exactly what Will Ospreay did. He tries to console Daniel Garcia. He's telling him, hey man, you know, shit happens. That was on me. That was my bad. I distracted you. That was all on me. He helps him up to his feet and you can see where this is going from a mile away. He raises his arm up. He starts to show him off to the crowd. He wants the crowd to cheer for him and everything like that. He hugs him. Then he holds him by the shoulder and he kicks him right in the dick. Right in the fucking dick. turns heel instantaneously. Got heat, a shit ton of fucking heat. Because you have Daniel Garcia who's sitting there, literally just lost this match, depressed out of his fucking mind, and the crowd is cheering for him for this opportunity. You have Matt Menard, just figure out his name right now, who was giving MJF all kinds of props for not being a devious bastard, for him to still pull that. Then he gets the diamond ring and he hits him in the head with it. Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard comes out, he hits Matt Menard in the head with the ring. The security guards, the referees, they come out to the ring. They're trying to stop MJF. He's hitting all of them with the diamond ring. He beats the dog shit out of Daniel Garcia with that ring. Gets on top of him. He starts to punch him in the face. Daniel Garcia is busted open. He's covered in blood. Matt Menard, he's covered in blood. MJF was going to give him a brainbuster. I missed this for a second because I was making the title, but I think he gave him some, I don't know if he gave him a brainbuster or whatever, but he gave him a maneuver off the turnbuckle, right? And then you have Will Ospreay. He's coming back out to the ring. He's hobbling. All these guys are scattered around the ring. More security guards are coming to stop MJF. MJF invites Will Ospreay in the ring. As soon as Will Ospreay gets in the ring, MJF just dashes out of the ring. He leaves the ring, jumps in the crowd, leaves. He's getting booed like fucking crazy, bro. That was fantastic. They bring out the stretcher. They give Daniel Garcia the stretcher job, and they go off the air with the logo on the screen just like that. That was fan-fucking-tastic. Only because I didn't see it coming. That's the crazy part. Like, I seen it coming afterwards. Like, as soon as MJF got in the ring with Daniel Garcia, I knew what was up. At that, well, actually, not even at that point. Not until MJF picked him up did I figure what was going to happen. Even when MJF got in the ring, I thought he was just getting in the ring just to one-up Will Ospreay. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to actually attack him. Not until you lift him up and the camera started to pan out did I figure what was going to happen. But going into the match, I had in the back of my mind that Don Callis was going to go do something to Will Ospreay. And I figured they did that shit on purpose in order to throw you off the scent with the Don Callis stuff earlier tonight. That was smart. I did not have on my bucket list that fucking MJF was going to turn heel, especially when I literally just made a video on the man not being sabotaged, and then he does this. So it's pretty clear where they're going to go, right? They did this angle just to take Daniel Garcia off of TV because they want to have a little opening for MJF and Will Ospreay going into All In. That was brilliant. I cannot give that was brilliant. From the swerves, from the way they got out of Daniel Garcia wrestling at All In, this was brilliant. I don't know what to say. This was brilliant. The only thing I will say, and this is going to sound weird when I say it, get the International Championship belt off of Will Ospreay. Will and MJF should have a grudge match. Straight up. So it seems like we know how the All-In card is going to pan out now, right? At least the top 2 matches, or 3 matches, I guess. It looks like we're going to have Swerve Strickland and Adam Page for the World Championship. It looks like we're going to have Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné taking on Britt Baker. And it looks like, for a fact, it's going to be MJF taking on Will Ospreay. Get the International Championship belt off of him. This needs to be a grudge for you. This needs to be a grudge match. These guys, this shit is somewhat personal now from what it looks like. This was fantastic. This is the best Dynamite episode I've ever seen in my life. I can't stress this enough. From all the things that happened tonight, from the promo, from the excellent match earlier on the night, even this match was fucking pretty good too. They had some solid matches that had purpose, that had meaning. They had a post-match structure to it. Even the undercard stuff with Jericho beating up fucking what's his name? Hook, and it just seemed like, you know what is, I loved how tonight, even with Will Ospreay, with the aggression shown with Daniel Garcia, and then Heyman Adam Page, and then Pac and Bryan Danielson, and then even the Learning Tree, and they could be goofy sometimes, and now with MJF, everybody was so pissed off tonight, bro. I like that. Everybody, it kind of gave me a 1997 Attitude Era feel, where it's just like everybody's just fucking mad. No one's happy. No one's giggling. No one's not. Everybody is just fucking pissed. And I fucking love it. I fucking love it. This was excellent. I can't stress this enough. This is by far the best episode of Dynamite I've ever seen in my life. Nothing even comes fucking close. And the question is, how do they capitalize on all of this? Now, they're going to have MJF cut a promo at Collision. I think that's a bad idea because the Royal Rumble's going to be on. I don't think that's smart. Obviously, I got to review the Money in the Bank, excuse me. Obviously, I got to review Money in the Bank. That's going to be everybody's attention. I'm going to come back and watch the MJF promo after I'm done doing the Money in the Bank stuff. But I think it probably would have been smart to hold this promo off until next Wednesday, so everybody has the undivided attention of what the fuck is going to happen. But like I said, I want to see how they're going to follow up on this. You got Dynamite next week. I don't know what they're going to do, but this was a perfect episode. Like I said, step in the right direction. Let me see where this is going to get this is the shit that's going to get your fucking ratings up. This right here is what gets your fucking ratings up. I don't think it's going to reflect off of what's going to happen tomorrow. I think, this is going to be a reflection off of last week. We'll see what the ratings are going to show tomorrow. But yeah, I can't stress this. This was a great episode. I can't say it enough. Good shit, Tony. Good shit. But a broken clock always gets it right at least one time. We'll see what happens next week. Keep up the momentum. Keep the foot on the fucking gas. Because what I want from professional wrestling is for professional wrestling to be fucking excellent. Raw is good right now. SmackDown is good right now. And if you keep up this, it looks like fucking AEW is going to be good on top of NXT. So we'll see where this is going to go next week. But hey, man, get on you guys. Get on you. AEW, go check out most of the segments on this. All the segments for the most part fucking hit. But with that being said, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P eyes.